Welcome to this Times Techies webinar. I am Sujit John and I have with me my colleague Akhil George. The two of us will moderate this discussion, which we are having in association with Indeed, the job search engine and hiring platform. Finding a job that's most suited to you can be so tiresome. We have also heard people say that the hiring process looks like a black box. You submit a resume and you have no idea what's happening with it. Is anyone looking at it? For recruiters too, it must be a nightmare. They must be flooded with resumes. Goldman Sachs' engineering head based in India recently told us that they receive some 400,000 resumes every year. There would be other companies that would be receiving even more. So how do we do job discovery and job matching better? In this discussion today, we are going to look at how AI is beginning to revolutionize this space. And for that, we have three seasoned professionals. We have with us Ankit Bose. Ankit is head of AI at nasscom. Prior to joining nasscom 2 years ago, he was for many years with IBM. He's a thought leader. He has expertise in innovation and team development. He has developed new technology and service businesses. Through his career, he has held roles spanning engineering, consulting, strategy, and has worked across continents and in sectors such as government, utilities, telco, retail, and manufacturing. At nasscom, Ankit currently is dedicated to empowering India by encouraging industry to embrace AI and digital technologies, but in a responsible manner. Welcome, Ankit.
We have Ganesh Raj Mohan Parimelalagan. Ganesh is the global head of operations and platforms at Altimetrik, the digital business and product engineering services company. Ganesh guides his teams to craft sustainable and scalable solutions tailored to next generation challenges. Ganesh's core competencies encompass solution design, the architecture of cutting edge platforms, and hands on experience in microservices, API platforms, DevOps, cloud engineering, advanced data analytics, and more. He's been with Altimetrik for over 5 years now, prior to which he was with Sutherland Global Solutions, PayPal India, and CSS Corp. He's also been an entrepreneur, having co founded GoGrab.in, an online food ordering app in Chennai. Welcome, Ganesh.
Thank you.
And we have with us Abhishek Dhasmana. Abhishek is a senior product director at Indeed India. He heads Indeed's India Development Center. He started his career as a technical staff for Dell Technologies and then went to the US for an MS in computer engineering, after which he joined Microsoft in Seattle. He quickly moved up the ranks to become a senior product manager at Microsoft. He moved to Microsoft Hyderabad Center later. In 2014, Abhishek joined GoDaddy as Director of Product Management and Product Marketing. In his current role at Indeed, Abhishek is responsible for the build and operation of a best-in-class product development center for the company. Welcome, Abhishek.
Thank you very much.
Those who are viewing this can send in questions to the Facebook comment box. Sujit and I will put them to Ankit, Ganesh, and Abhishek. So why don't we open up this webinar? Let's start with the basics. What is happening in the Indian job market today? Who wants to go first? Abhishek?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's great to be in good company, and I'm really looking forward to learning, from other panelists and obviously the questions that will come in. Maybe I'll get started by saying that there's still, as the world of work is evolving, there is still great barriers in how employers find the right talent and how job seekers find the right job. So there is still a whole lot of mismatch that is there in how employers are contacting job seekers. And so, for example, 76% of our employers report that they still can't find the right candidate with the right sort of skill set that they're looking for. And what's ironical is on the job seeker side, 50% of job seekers report that they get approached for a job that does not match, their preference. So clearly, there is still a wide gap in how the marketplace is operating. And then there's the usual skill gap that's there. The skills that job seekers have and what employers are looking for. And then there is also inefficiency that's there in the speed at which the opportunity sort of needs to be made available on both sides.
So, I'm sure everybody will also be interested. Are there a lot of good jobs happening right now, Abhishek?
Good jobs happening, meaning being available.
Yeah,
Yeah,
generally
yeah.
available. How's the job availability generally?
So
I know Ganesh's company is hiring a lot of people. That's what he
that's
said
right.
to me
That's right.
sometime.
And I'll have probably Ganesh come in there. But again, from a from the vantage point that we have, there's enough jobs that are available. And we are trying to solve. So one of the things we say is, talent is universal, but opportunity is not. And there are still barriers in job seekers discovering that opportunity. And we are continuously working to do that. And then I'm sure this topic will come through that, as technology is progressing and AI is progressing, there is more sort of demand for what a good job looks like. And those great jobs are available across.
So Ganesh, you agree with Abhishek? I mean, do you find it difficult to find talent? At least find the right talent? How is it? You said you are hiring a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. So first of all, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having Altimetrik and me as a part of this. Yeah, I do concur. There are very good jobs available, but hiring and finding the right talent has been the real challenge in the market today for both sides, right? Even for the talent as well as for the companies. India as a space, if you see, we have limited opportunities, or we have a bunch of opportunities, but we always have a lot of people who are available, right? As we India, and then the market is like that today. And the challenge in getting the right talent for us is like exactly what Abhishek was trying to say. I'll just double click a bit on that. Is, see, we have a requirement for an individual, but then there are two things now, right? There is a role or responsibilities that normally comes as a part of your job description. At the same time, there is also something called what title you want to hire somebody into a company, right? So when you post a job, you just tell them that that is a senior engineer or an architect or a data engineer. But then the role that you want the person to come and play as a part of the offering is something different, or that has got its own tidbits. So today, we don't see that the connect happens even at least 60-70% of the time, even the connect doesn't happen at that level, right? You either get a senior engineer, but then they don't fit into the role, or you actually get the right person, but then the title is different, and then the mismatch happens. And yes, and with now the whole model becoming hybrid, right? A huge set of dynamics have now come into play, right? Where earlier we were not having this model, so certain things were fixed. Right? So if you just imagine a mathematical equation, right? So the way we solve a mathematical equation is by changing certain things into a constant, and then we start going about and solving that. But what if that solution became that statement or that equation became so complex where you had so much variables now? So you'll have to assign 5 or 6 different values, and you'll have to start solving. So that is the complexity that the hybrid workforce has put into in terms of identifying the right talent for companies like us, and at the same time for identifying the right job for the people who are actually the job seekers in the market today.
So you end up wasting a lot of time, is it, Ganesh?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
for both sides, for both sides.
for both sides. Ankit, I mean, I know we'll come to the AI part of it later, but on this particular point, as a NASSCOM member, have you seen a big problem there in matching jobs with the right candidates?
Yes, absolutely. I think again, I'll macro it to AI, right? So again, the new emergent of different forms of AI. There are huge different roles which are emerging, which is not fitting in one sort of tech, right? So probably let me give you an example. Right? So AI, ethicist, right? Or AI, policy specialist, right? Or someone who is working on prompt engineering, right? Uh, these are typically not from the technical domain. They will come from ethics, philosophy, law, sociology, right? So the emerging trend of jobs, uh, definitely in the AI sector, it's completely different, right? And coming to the other question, what you had, right? So uh, we did a study some time back. I think there were around 6 lakh requirement of data in professions, and we had around 4 lakh something in India, right? This is 2023 early. Now, by 2027, we estimate this will go to around 12 lakh, right? So we need a phenomenal infusion of talent, right? And again, I think not only talent from STEMs, it has to be multidisciplinary talent, right? Which can fulfill this demand, right? Coming from multiple different domains.
Okay. Now we'll come to that part a little later again in some more depth. But Abhishek, tell us, I mean, so all of these problems exist. Is AI really emerging as a good solution to all of this?
Oh, absolutely. AI is playing a critical role and speeding up, this, how solutions are sort of coming to market. So one of the things that, we've done is we launched, recently launched in April, a product called Smart Sourcing, which is powered by AI. And it's singularly focused on two things, right? One is to improve candidate matching. So, by way of example, what we do is, in a traditional sort of sourcing led, candidate discovery, a recruiter will come, they will put in keywords, and then they will, find candidates, etc. Whereas using the power of AI, we instantly sort of have matched candidates available, because on the job seeker side, we have candidate activity, we have candidate resume and their preferences, and therefore we understand way more deeply, right? So what it does is it instantly helps employers, start with a set of high quality candidates. Now, the second thing where we are leveraging AI is in highlighting now, like as Ganesh was saying, there's tons of applications and tons of sort of job seekers that are available. So for employers who are hiring in high volume, right, we are using the power of AI to offer candidate highlights. So it can basically summarize a candidate's resume into a simple, readable sort of a paragraph that highlights, oh, these are the unique things about this job seeker. Here's where they stand out, and therefore the recruiter is on a very high and sound footing to actually get their job started. And then AI continues to help further down during the recruitment process. So for example, I mean, we all know, right? Like getting an outreach which is templatized is less interesting versus when it is personalized and it looks like, that, the hiring manager or the recruiter is really interested in you. It's way more appealing. And therefore, and again, I think like you said in your opening sort of paragraph, there is this, what we call ghosting, right? Like an employer is trying to reach out, but the job seeker is not responsive, or the job seeker has applied, but the employer is not responsive. And therefore, AI is bringing in personalization, which we are already seeing, is improving responsiveness on both sides of the marketplace.
Yeah. And some of this is Gen AI, is it, Abhishek?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so for example, the highlighting of the about a candidate, right? There's tons of information that's available about a candidate. And what we've traditionally seen in a hiring process is a human recruiter is sifting through like hundreds of resume, right? So they eventually resort to keyword matching, right? And they're not seeing the context of that keyword, leading to some, funny matches. A program manager means has different meaning in, a variety of industries, for example, right? But what AI can do is it can summarize whole lot of that stuff and give you, the highlight in one paragraph, thereby, also increasing recruiters' effectiveness.
Okay, you've seen a big difference ever since Gen AI emerged versus the previous AI methods.
It's so I'll say a qualified yes, trending, towards like a very solid yes. So for example, the smart sourcing product that we launched, from the early adopters, we are seeing some very high numbers in terms of, how they are receiving the product. So, 98% of, users agree that smart sourcing has become their preferred product for finding, active candidates. 93%, are agreeing that it's helping them find hard to, find roles. And then there is universal agreement that the time to hire is actually also sort of decreasing, thereby improving. So definitely, other than the broader set of AI techniques, where obviously, machine learning, deep learning is there, but Gen AI is actually pushing that forward in improving, how people find jobs.
Yeah. Ganesh, you want to add to that?
Yeah, certainly. So I think we in Altimetrik also have started using AI almost a couple of years before, right? We are having our homegrown platform called Driftin, which is our primary hiring platform. And the way we landed there, the team is that, So we eventually understood that the whole dynamics and the workforce is changing, right? Like if I tell you a phrase, get up, dress up, show up, that rings a bell for you. But in today's, if you go and tell that to my son or your son, there is you. What do you want me to? Why do you want me to get up, dress up, show up for what? Right? Because pretty much I can do everything and anything from wherever I am. I don't need to get up, dress up, show up to do anything. So these people, we classify them and we call them as digital natives. Like these are all people who are born after the 2000s and all that. And today, if you see, they constitute 20 to 30% of any organization. And going forward, fast forwarding into 2027 or 2030, they'll be about 50 to 60% of any organization. So the kind of engagement, the kind of experience, the kind of work that they want to do is completely different from what this generation is or what the current platforms have for that matter, right? The current ATSs that are available in the market, right? They are still not caught up to that, right? And if you actually see, a lot of companies have started going down into mini products to basically use them to find the right talent. And that is where we in Altimetrik, we saw that Gen AI came to our rescue, right? So what we did is like whatever Ankit said. So yes, we get these candidate profiles sourced through the sourcing portals that we have. But beyond that, we'll have to actually match that to our requirement, right? As I said, yes, there is a job description that pretty much tells what we are looking for in this individual. But most of the time, if you see, the job descriptions are at a very high level, right? And the biggest challenge, even within a company like us, right, where there is so much demand that is coming from multiple sides, not all the job descriptions are written the same way. So the first and foremost thing that we did at Altimetrik is we went and made sure that we used GenAI to standardize these job descriptions, right? So and it was just not based on what you give, but is also based on what we a company are as, right? We, as you said, we are basically a product development services company. So we just then said, are we going to standardize our JD based on what we want or what we look for, right? And we particularly have a very unique term in our organization called practitioners. So we wanted to add that elements into the job description so that when you kind of parse two documents that you have in your hand, one is the resume and then the other one is the job description, you're able to kind of identify the right matches that you're looking for in an individual, right? And as I said, the roles and responsibilities were very, very key in that, right? An individual could be, say, a 4-year, 5-year experienced professional on Java space. But if the responsibility that we are looking for is that particular individual to come and do a lead work, maybe lead a team of 2 or 3 people, or if you're looking that particular individual to come specifically and do a little bit of solutioning and architecture, or if that particular roles requires somebody to have a client facing position, right, where they are going to be constantly put in front of a customer and they're allowed to converse with the customer. So those kind of nuances is where we started looking at GenAI helping us in the first phase of solution. Ideally, these things are found if you think on the second or third round, right? When a candidate goes to the second or third round of the selection process, is when we get into these kind of things to find out, oh, okay, this role requires this person to be in front of the customer, or this requires this person to solution, and then they kind of start thinking. And you actually waste a lot of time there, right? Like you have invested a lot of time in doing a couple of rounds, and the candidate has also actually spent a lot of time. But that is where this particular GenAI really actually helps us in the initial phase.
Okay.
So we pick up this, we try to match the whole thing, and we see if this is actually what percentage of match this is. And then we also have a score called Alti score. And what that Alti score also gives us is, we also sometimes, if the score is beyond say 70%, we try to get a little bit of insight through AI to understand if this person has got the potential to get there, so that we can still look at recruiting this person and bridging that gap.
Okay, interesting. Ankit, what have you been hearing in the industry?
Yeah, I think very exciting stuff, right? So from a recruiter point of view, I think the AI tools has transferred a lot of things, right? So again, I see four steps or four, sort of viewpoints coming. One is doing the candidate sourcing, right? A lot of recruiters are using a lot of different GenAI and AI tools to help them, source right candidate. Second is screening, right? Resume screening. If you're screening probably thousand CVs, how to shortlist the right one, right? So that's that. Third is candidate evaluation. Again, out of this 1,000 CVs, a lot of these can be converted or are getting converted to video interviews, and video analytics are getting used to screen the right and give them the right experience. And the fourth one is candidate closure. The most important is how you get entry into any company, right? So that experience is getting very, very smoothened. Right? So that's what we are seeing. Would want to substantiate with some of the probably good experiences, right? Or probably success stories. Mastercard has really transformed their recruiting experience, right? So they have increased their pool of talent from 100K to 1 million profiles, right? Similarly, Electroflux, they have basically increased the application conversion rate, right? And companies like Thermo Fisher, they are saying they have achieved 46% internal hiring rate, right? So internal movement, right? So that's really
internal movement in the sense, sorry,
internal hiring, right? So you have the right levers deployed internally.
Okay,
right?
okay,
so
okay.
that you can internally hire people. So that's what is happening. And again, also would want to name few Indian startups who are doing very good, right? Like there's a company called or startup called InRecruiter, right? So they have developed an AI-based video interview and code assessment platform, right? That really reduces the whole time. So you have a video analytics, you have a code assessment. So instead of having 3 people reviewing you and your code, it can be significantly reduced as a pipeline. Similarly, there's a company or the startup called Talent Recruit, right? They are basically creating an ML power assistant which can help you understand and analyze the patterns which is coming out in the whole interview process out of probably 5-6 level of interviews, and then find whether this candidate is right fit for your requirement and your company. Right? So really amazing trends, amazing adoption coming out, and I think it is not only limited to the recruiters. It's also advantages to the hiring candidates, right? So that's what we are seeing. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Okay.
Abhishek, what about from the job seeker side? Why can't we get an instant update on my phone, saying that hey, there's a company that needs a job and you're perfect for it, go for it. Will something like that happen in the future?
Absolutely, like that. In fact, the way our CEO always talks about is, we want to build the product where the job seeker pushes a button, and then you get the right job, right? So we are continuously sort of working towards sort of that, making that future sort of reality. Now, a few things that we're already doing about it are. So as I think one of our panelists was saying, there is, on the job seeker side also, there is enough sort of uncertainty in their minds about how to best represent themselves, right? And resume is only one artifact that helps the job seeker tell, here's what I know and here's what I've done and my skills, etc. So again, Gen AI is doing a lot of assistance work in helping the job seeker refine their resume so that they can have a good shot at representing themselves. The second thing that is, also continuously and fast evolving is, and I think one of the panelists said that was, interview preparation. How do you go, and because interview is a point in time thing, sometimes, you can have a bad day or a good day, and that can actually determine, whether you have a good shot at that job. Now new tools are emerging assisted by AI that can really give you that time, give you the context of the culture of a company, etc., so that you have a very, very good shot at representing yourself. So from job seeker side, I think those two things are certainly happening. Even outside of just the core AI, I'll just speak for what we are doing. We are continuously also working to make that opportunity universal, like I've been talking about. So one of the things is, in non-English languages, how do we make that opportunity accessible to everybody? So for example, like we launched Indeed in Hindi, and that greatly expanded how the same job is actually now available to non native English speakers. The other thing is, again, I always talk about it, that for us sort of technologically adept sort of professionals, search is like probably the most intuitive thing, right? But for a lot of job seekers who are new to the internet, search is actually quite intimidating. It's like a blank box that is staring at you, and you really don't know what to type inside that. And when it comes to job searching, what you type is actually going to produce the kind of opportunities, right? So we are doing multiple things in there. One is we are taking or experimenting with a more natural language question answer style interface in a chatbot, where we can guide the job seeker into telling who they are and what they're looking for. And then talking about the question where you started, once we get to know who the job seeker is and what they're looking for, we are continuously sort of improving our systems so that AI can match and reach the job seeker at the right time and in the right channel, right? So we know now, like some job seekers are more active at some part of their day or some part of the night. So because there is so much information overload, it is also important for us to present the opportunity at the right time, right? So there's just a whole lot of advances sort of that are going in, and I think recommendation plus automatic outreach is really going to push that boundary.
What stage
Yeah,
is
what
it
about
in? What stage is it in? I mean, I close to these kinds of alerts and all that.
So you can already sign up for alerts, and you can also choose, as a job seeker on Indeed, you can choose whether you want to receive it on email or WhatsApp. We have like a continuously improving mobile app where you can receive it through a, push notification. And again, we are continuously sort of improving our data systems to collect and understand, deeply understand the job seeker. What is an aspiration versus where you are actually more closely matched to what you're looking for. So all of that, I think, it's not like we're not talking like science fiction that it's going to be like many years away. It's here and now, and we are just continuously improving it.
I just
uh,
thought
uh,
I'd add something to
please
that.
add in.
So yeah, so Abhishek, what we are envisioning at least is in the next 3 to 5 years from now, people will self-hire themselves into any company. They may not even actually need a TA intervention, right? I think that's the outlook that we have, or I have personally working on this space for quite some time now, right? With the advent of this whole, so the source again is your digital natives, right? So these people, so if they are going to expect an engagement experience where they don't want somebody to handhold them into a job or into an opportunity, but if how can they self-present themselves in front of an opportunity and take the evaluation process and get themselves hired into a company, right? That is what I'm thinking that Gen AI will, or this whole AI world will take us into, right? Where a lot of people, I'm at least thinking that by 2025, you can definitely expect at least 5% to 7% of people getting self-hiring themselves into any organization where they don't want somebody to handhold them. They just they come across a job portal of a company. They understand what the opportunity is all about. They understand what is the recruitment process, what kind of interviews are happening, who is taking that, and then they just on a click, right? Like they just click, okay, I just do my pre-screening, I click, I do my screening, I click, I do my coding and assessment. Yes, as like Ankit said, we even use a platform, right, for evaluating our candidates to write code and then evaluate and all of those things. So all that can happen, and then it just shows up on the HR operations person. Hey, you know what, prepare an offer for this individual, right? And this is what the person wants. And today, if governments can also open up a bit of their systems in a more secure manner, then we can also do all this verification, right, in just a click, which takes multiple days today, right? And that is actually a process in terms of recruiting the right person into any company. And today, India as a country, we have become so digital, right? We have so advanced. We have a lot of wonderful systems that can help us to do the basic checks that normally takes 2 to 3 days or sometimes 4 to 5 days today, which if they can all happen on a single click. And if government can actually work towards helping or opening up these areas for us in a very secure manner, and that's what we envision, right? Like so the entire process becomes completely self-serviceable, right? So you don't need, so and as you rightly said, the search doesn't show up on me, right? So the data helps to understand what kind of person am I, and then you know what kind of opportunities you have in front of me. You just your machine learning AI helps you match that, and then the opportunity shows up on me, like as Akhil is asking, right? Just shows up on my phone. You know what, Akhil, I have a wonderful opportunity for you, man. What are you doing in time stack? Come over.
Please don't do that.
Actually, India Stack definitely deserves sort of a mention here. I want to just maybe call that out. Thanks to the India Stack, what you were saying on the employer side, right? We are already integrated, using a GSTIN based verification. And, as is, one of the problems with the global sort of hiring marketplaces, there's, enough bad elements, who come in and actually lure people with sort of scam jobs. And thanks to India Stack, we've been able to integrate and really, really accelerate, employer side of verification. And then similar sort of work is happening on the job seeker side. Like how can we verify, their credentials, what they're saying, they've done, their degrees, etc. So yeah, it's quite exciting, how quickly we can get there.
Yeah, this self-hiring that Ganesh is talking about, yeah, it'll require a lot of checks also, no? I guess otherwise, yeah, candidates can use AI to probably do some of those things themselves. Ankit, what? You also see a future like that?
Yeah, after hearing that, I'm seeing blockchain added into that, right? So everything metaverse reality. So,
Metaverse is already happening quite a bit, right? We've heard from quite a few companies that are doing metaverse interviews.
yes, metaverse is happening. Yeah, I think a lot of this emerging tech and the integration of human and this tech integration is happening very transformatively, right? And it's happening so fast paced. We don't even know things have changed in last 1 year. So it is such a big way, right? So and recruiting is not any different from any other sector, right? So yeah.
Abhishek, what about resumes? Should we like optimize our resumes now? Is that what job seekers should do? Just like, having SEOs or that search engine optimization. Because AI is going to be picking our resumes, then we should do something for it to stand out.
Yeah, tell youngsters exactly how they should now be drafting their resumes.
Okay. I mean, I have a point of view, so I'll start with a disclaimer, which is, see, the world of work is evolving, right? And I can offer, some trends that we are seeing. So, so ultimately, your ultimate goal is to represent yourself in the best possible way, right? And like I said earlier, resume, was and continues to be an artifact that is part of the process. But how things are changing is it's not the only artifact that is sort of getting considered, right? So yes, use all the technology to find the best way to represent yourself through a resume, but like other panelists have also said, the other sort of emerging trends are, besides sort of the skills, besides the degree that you have, do you have demonstrated evidence of skills, right? So again, a traditional way to sort of look at that is, oh, you've gone to such and such college and completed such and such degree, therefore you have some quality bar, right? Now increasingly, like more and more people are finding ways to get experiential skills, right? So how do you go and bring that in front of employers? You have to figure out a way, like whether it's through resume, right? So one of the other things that is also happening is, there used to be a point where there'll be a cover letter, that will come, alongside a resume and say, hey, I'm so and so, I'm really interested, right? Now there is video cover letter, and what's happening is, not only is the employer obviously listening to your content, but your tonality and how serious you are, and there's all the body language that's sort of going inside that. And therefore it's also becoming one of the factors in which how employers are looking at you. So I'd say, like, in general, resume is not the only thing. It's still an important thing, but it's not the only thing. How can you give more and more evidence of the skill that you possess, and how interested and how serious you are about working in a particular organization. All of that needs to come together.
Okay.
My
This
2 cents is that just make sure that the first page of resume covers most of what you want to say.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So most of the time, the way the whole algorithms work is that the first page or the first 2 pages are the most important pages, right? And particularly when we try to pick up skills, we really have a bigger data set where we try to pick up skills from. So my only advice to all youngsters or who all resume preparers is like, just make sure the first page, as Abhishek rightly said, say what you want to say. Don't put these generic statements, and don't also go and take it from ChatGPT. You know what these parsers pick up, they know whether it was picked up from ChatGPT. So don't do that. Right, do your own stuff, but try and make sure the front page or the first page of your resume has got all the information that you actually want to communicate in a right template, in a right format, so that it is easy for these algorithms to pick up and make sure that they give you the right suggestions.
Are there good
Right.
Gen AI tools emerging which can help you write a good resume or something?
Yes,
There are actually.
yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
about to say.
No, go ahead, Ankit.
Yeah, go ahead, Ankit.
Yeah. So
Abhishek, do you have something like that?
yeah.
Sorry, I'll let Ankit go. I just wanted to make one point, on just on top of what Ganesh's advice was. I think the advice is sound, but I do want to say, like, again, referencing back to, of course, we cannot guarantee, which tool will be used to evaluate you, right? But if an employer is using Indeed smart sourcing tool, what I earlier said, actually, this is the problem that the candidate highlight feature is solving. If you have 4 pages and the most important thing that is there about you, which is relevant to a specific job, is there on the third page, you don't have to worry about it. Our candidate highlight will actually pick it. Now, can you rely that all systems will be like that? At some point, yes. But yeah, like until that happens, it's good advice.
Ankit, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think very interesting discussion. So there are specific tools which are available which can create a template for you, right? You can have so like if someone has X number of experience, he can put in that tool and he can generate a 2-pager, 1-pager extract, and then you can modify it, right? So that's very much available, right? The other way is again video, right? A lot of video generation tools are available which can help you draft and cover letter for you, right? So you can create a sort of a pitch for you. You can create what you will speak, all of that, right? The third one emerging trend I'm seeing is a lot of recruiters, or probably not recruiters, companies are basically using various mechanisms which basically helps the candidate. It could be a student, it could be early hire, it could be senior hire, to try out certain use case, build it for them. I will give an example, right? So one of the company who we work with, a financial company, right? They wanted to hire 50 people, right? Now these were not from the T1. They wanted to go T2 and T3 beyond. So what they implemented was they worked with us and they worked with few other partners and basically formulated a solution what they want to build, like neobank, right? Now with this whole process went for 3 lakh plus T2 T3 colleges students. It went to them. 3 lakh plus students applied. Now they get a live experience of the problem. They worked so the company came and gave a proper debrief, explained them, educated them what is the problem, and then they attended. Right now, the students or the early hires came to know how the company operates, how they think, they know the leaders, right? And at the end, I think the results were phenomenal. 50 people were hired from that. 30 people were given internship, right? So here the students and the company both have a very good interaction mechanism. Both can work with each other, see, and then see the top colleges will have always ample of hiring. But again, if you go to the T2, T3 colleges, cities, I think they need those exposures, and that's a learning for them. Once they probably didn't qualify, next one definitely they can do that. Right? Such mechanisms are getting deployed, and this is all using various AI, Gen AI tools, right? Sort of.
Okay.
I can maybe just add a bit more, on top of it. So, like Ankit has sort of correctly said, there's enough tools out there that can help you get started, right? And get to a point where it's pretty good. But I think a timeless advice, since you said, what's the advice for young people? I think which was true before and more true now is, as more and more people use that tool, your authenticity still needs to stand out. And I think what will help you get noticed is your authenticity, right? Just like we are evolving, the AI is also evolving, sorry, to detect language patterns and how and what you're saying, right, your sentiment, etc. So ultimately, we will all come back down to, are you an authentic person who's representing yourself with genuine passion, etc. And if you can highlight those things, then I think you stand a much greater chance on finding that dream opportunity.
How well are these video analytics? And Ankit had also mentioned it. Video analytics, how well are those working? Can AI, I mean, when somebody sends you a video or when there's a video interview and all of that, is AI helping there in some way?
Yeah, it does, right? So normally what we do as a part of one of our capability that we are working to build is that we record our virtual videos.
Mhm.
And as a part of all these virtual video recordings, the transcript is also available by default. And then we start going out and doing an indexing of these transcripts, right? So for example, if that was a 1 hour video, and if you are the second person talking to that individual and you just want to know that on a particular skill, was this person evaluated or not, or what kind of answers did, what kind of questions were posed, what kind of answers were given, and should I probe more? Instead of me sitting and watching the entire 1 hour video, I can just go and click on that particular specific minute to say, okay, so for example, if you take, say, Java microservices or Spring Boot, so I just want to know what kind of questions were asked to this individual on Spring Boot and what did the individual answer. So instead of now watching me or just somebody else watching and saying, Ganesh, you go and watch on the 43rd minute to 47th minute, I'll just go, the AI helps here that. So it takes pics of the transcript, it indexes the transcript based on the time, and it tells us that. So you just go and click directly there, and then it just plays the whole thing. You listen, and then you come out and say, okay, so this is what they've asked, so maybe I should ask more. I think that's good enough. So we do that today.
Okay. Indeed, has anything like this, Abhishek? I mean, your recruiters use any AI on video and things?
So there's, again, we are a very experiment sort of focused, and we have a lab that's actually dedicated to AI. So we are continuously experimenting with this. There are while these are very powerful tools, at the same time, there is also concerns about bias, ethics, etc. Right? So we are evaluating it and taking a wider view, and taking inputs from the entire ecosystem. So we are in experimentation, trying it in small cohorts and really learning, at 360 degree, what are the things that where it really works and where we need to be careful.
You mentioned bias, Abhishek. What have you seen? Is AI really good at removing that bias from recruiters? Because human beings are always going to be biased. I think. We'll favor people of the same language, maybe, or religion, or caste. Can AI remove all that?
So I can take a crack at it, but I'd really love to hear from others, right? So I think it's sort of whoever talks about AI, I think the fundamental truth is your model is going to be as good as your data. So the data that you use to train your models is essentially, going to, basically, put out the output. So if there is already bias in data, you will get biased recommendations, right? If there is less bias in your data, you will then, AI will certainly help you remove that bias in who it's recommending. So that, I think, is sort of the short answer. And therefore, it's so critical. And therefore, like I was alluding to earlier, we are very, very careful and deliberately slow in how we are sort of, launching this at a global scale.
Ankit, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll add both questions answered, right? What Sujit asked and what you asked. So video-based interview tools are really getting used at scale, right? Like you have multiple different rounds, right? A lot of rounds are on the, the body language, the soft skills, the communications. They are getting, addressed using video-based tools. So you can really, use that to get certain, parameters assigned by which you can get the right candidate, right? I'm seeing one more trend, right, which is the bias, right? So again, there are bias reduction mechanism people are using in the video-based tool, because once it's a video, and you need certain output. That could be communication level, technical level, whatever level, right? So that can be detected by the AI and give you the right, sort of inputs or insights, being bias free, right? So I think that's what I'm seeing also getting included. One example I gave you about in Recruiter, right? There are multiple such examples of startups who are working very much on this same domain, right?
Yeah, I'll also add something here, right? And in terms of we have been talking about AI in terms of the job seeker and the company, right? But for us, where it all started was not to identify the right talent, but first to identify the right panel to interview. See, we were looking more at the candidate stage, right? Suppose when somebody comes out of an interview, right? You might see, if you are at a company end, you ask, hey, was the candidate good? At the same time, if you are the candidate, right, you always have your friends or parents or others asking you, how did the interview go? Right? And you also say, I think I answered well, or the interviewer did not know what he was asking. It was very confusing. That person was so stubborn and all that, right? So we first wanted to, the use case for us to put even an AI into this whole process started to basically see, do you identify the right panel, right? So we actually, what we did, the way when we started this 2 years back, was to do a tri-party matching. So we took the resume, which was our document that we had originally at that point in time to understand more about a candidate. And then we took the job description. And then we kind of created a database in our company. We created a platform where every employee in our company can come and empanel themselves and tell, right, what kind of skills they would like to interview. At the same time, we also had their resumes in our database. So we picked up that, and then we created a profile of all the panels in our company. So now what we did is, you get a score, you have the JD, you have the panel resume, so you match, you get a score. And then the second party matching was to do the JD versus the candidate. And then the tri-party was to see if this score matches both, right? So if this person and this person can actually interview. And that was set on multiple different parameters, right, from their experience range to kind of tool set that they are using. Right, today there is a lot of tools for you. If you say Java, somebody could have worked using an Eclipse, somebody could have worked using an IntelliJ, somebody could have worked using something else, NetBeans and all that. So at that level, right, we went and we did matching, and that is where for us Gen AI or AI actually started, right? We wanted to make sure that the end-to-end experience was good, and it was not just experience, it was also more about productivity. If the right person is able to interview the right candidate, then you are able to kind of two things. You get a quality person, at the same time you save a lot of time unnecessarily talking to different candidates. So that is where this whole thing actually started for us, right? So I just want to double click a little bit into where the AI space is evolving, right? We are talking, I think so far we have been discussing a lot of great thoughts or points or realities in terms of resume and job description, but then the real the muscle is where the evaluation process. That yes, you can evolve Gen AI and all that, but at some point in time, at least in the next 10 years, that a human is going to come in. Maybe 10 years from now, there need not even be a human intervention. Not all people can just like that come and do. But until this next 10 years, so we just thought we'll solve that problem for us. We started for us, and then we said we'll solve it for a lot of our customers. So that's how we ended up creating our platform, right, which we use today for a lot of our customers.
Oh, fascinating. So panel decision as fantastic. Abhishek, any metrics you can provide? The use of AI, any metrics that you have in terms of how much improvement it has brought for your customers who use your platforms or the candidates who use it? Anything along those lines?
So maybe a few things that are coming to my mind. Like I think the one that I'm sort of most proud of is, as we have started to bring AI, more and more into our offerings, every 3 seconds, somebody is getting a job on Indeed. So the pace at which, people are finding jobs is like really heartening. our mission is to help people get jobs, like it says here, and it's sort of super satisfying, when we can sort of grow that sort of process. The So that's more from the outcome that we are seeing, right? Like we are also seeing more responsiveness, on either side, right? So candidates are responding, more quickly, as compared to, before, for an outreach that is more customized. And I think on the other side, we've done a survey to assess, the attitude towards AI, right? So I'd say, like, especially in India, we are, I think, at the forefront. People are a whole lot more optimistic about what AI will do for them and how it will bring a change. So there is, if I can quote, right, 85%, employers are optimistic that AI will actually not only improve their efficiency, but actually it'll create more jobs. On the job seeker side, 65% people are excited, 50% are optimistic, but at the same time, about 50% are also concerned about bias, about representation, of minority, etc. And therefore, just connecting it back to what Ganesh was saying, we can build that trust, or they feel more comfortable if they see a human in the middle. This is where we are right now. In future, maybe we'll get to a point where there is no human in the middle. I don't know if that'll happen or not. But right now, we firmly believe that a human is going to be at the center of recruitment. AI is not going to replace, humans anytime soon. And that'll help, continue to build that trust, and, have the checks and balances that an emerging technology, can sort of throw at the larger ecosystem.
Ganesh's self-recruitment is some time away. Ankit, what have you heard? What have you heard? Industry say any metrics, anything that anecdotally that you can think of? Somebody who told you that the process has improved significantly, that kind of stuff.
Yes, I think the examples I gave, right? So the metrics definitely is first is definitely the increase in pool talent, right? Talent pool, sorry. The second metric I will say is conversion, right? Conversion rate, right? Third could be what I'm hearing is definitely decreased incomplete application. A lot of time, a lot of candidate, they go and start the application, but they just don't complete it, right? These are a few things what I'm hearing, right? Again, using various tools, again, AI engineer tools. People are trying to optimize and increase them. Right? So that's what is the view.
Okay. Akhil, anything else?
I think we should look at what the future looks like. What does the future of jobs and recruitment in India now look like?
How soon will all this happen, Abhishek? Already happening, but how fast is it moving? Are generally companies all adopting some of these technologies?
Yes. Again, from our vantage point, it's happening fast. We can call it very fast. I think some of it is subjective, but it's happening very fast. And like I quoted earlier, there is a lot of, while this is not globally true, and there are countries where there's a whole lot more sort of or less receptivity to it. But in India, we are seeing, people and companies are embracing AI. So that definitely looks like a trend. So the other trends that I think are here to stay is like AI powered matching to actually accelerate, and improve the job matching. Generative AI getting used to both improve representation of jobs. So one thing that I didn't cover was, like, even on the employer side, when employers are creating job descriptions, etc., they get started with something that they already have. But because we have such a wider view on an occupation or on a segment, the Gen AI can actually suggest, oh, these are the skills that you are probably also looking for that don't appear to be there in the job description. Salary estimation, right? Because we have a wide view of salary, we can help them. Oh, in this location for this role, you are more likely to find a candidate quickly, if you offer sort of this salary range, etc. So that is here to stay. The second thing we see is the expansion of talent pool. So, and again, some of the panelists referred to it earlier. And again, it goes back to sort of our core belief that as opportunity becomes more and more real, not everybody needs to come to large cities to actually find their dream jobs. As remote work and hybrid work is sort of permeating, I think there'll be more and more people who will find, great jobs in a place of their choice. So I think that is here to stay. The other trend, and maybe I can quote a number there, is there is increasing receptivity to gig work. So 84% of organizations have either explored or are willing to explore gig models, right? Which are fueled by, of course, the business is also changing very, very fast. So we believe hybrid models will continue to gain, traction and popularity.
Okay. Ganesh?
Yeah, you heard me. It's already there, right? So we already use a lot of those things. And one thing that we recently started doing, leveraging GenAI to a greater extent, is that we came up with something called candidate dossier, right? So though we hire engineers for Altimetrik, end of the day, we'll have to present these engineers to the customer, right? Sometimes some customers want to know what kind of talent are you putting in my project for my product development you want me to do, right? So earlier days, what you used to do is you used to actually send the resume and then the set of interview feedback and an email and all that. So now with the help of Gen AI, we leverage the chat GPT to a greater extent for this, where we create something called a dossier, or it's like asking for a reference, right? I can come to you, Sujit, and say, hey, Sujit, you know what, do you know this person, right? Like, do you know, can you tell me about Akhil? And then you say, no, I worked with him. He's a great guy. He has done this, he has done that, and all of those things. So we kind of create a dossier in that particular format, saying that if you know me well, right? If I'm your account manager, then so I kind of I write the recommendation using GenAI, and I say that, you know what, I recommend this person for your project because I know this is what you want and this is what this person possesses in terms of skills, in terms of domain, in terms of previous roles and responsibilities that they've done. And I think this is a perfect fit for you, and you should look at this person seriously. So we have kind of gone to that extent. So to me, it's already there, right? Because and a lot of companies, as we were speaking in the morning. So if you look at two sector of companies, both the product and the services company, right? Both of them want high quality talent, and but the focus will be more on quality and the depth when it comes to product companies, because they hire in lower numbers. But and when it comes to the services companies, they hire in higher numbers. So both of them need more and more of these productivity tools to basically help them accelerate it, so that the time that they spend is reduced. And as a company, I'm able to find the talent that I'm looking for. And as an individual, I'm able to find the right opportunity that I'm looking for, right? Because the brand thing is all gone now. It's not even a job now. It's more of an opportunity, right? That's what people look for. It's not about a job or a paycheck alone anymore. It's also about, what am I going to learn from this project? Right? Is this project going to give me some learning into the next gen technology space, or a learning into the domain, or what kind of experience that people want to craft? So is that, am I going to get something out of this? And for this, AI is already there, right? As like Abhishek is saying, Indeed is there, and a lot of other tools are there, and ChatGPT is there, Google is there, right? So it's all already there, is what I would say, right? We are not far away from it. It's already there as a part of our lives.
Hey, fascinating. I mean, you built all these technologies for yourself or internal purpose, is it? I mean,
Yeah, we built all these things, and now we are coming up with a platform called Driftin. So it's called Driftin, and we have started piloting it for 2 or 3 of our customers. So they are using that today for their sourcing needs. And this platform also does one more thing for us, as like Akhil was talking about internal sourcing, right? So not 100% of our demand is externally sourced, right? A good amount percentage, like 40 to 50% is also from internal people wanting to rotate themselves among new projects and all that. And for that, earlier what used to happen is they apply for that, right? And then somebody goes and has a conversation, they evaluate them, and then they pick them up for that. But now what we have done is that whole manual intervention is bypassed, right? So we have configured business rules in the company. So we know people, when they are ready for these kind of opportunities, And based on their skill capability, the resume that we have, and then based on their feedback or the performance feedback that we have and the job description, we automatically go and suggest. So your inbox says that, hey, Sujit, I already have this person allocated to your project. Just go ahead and start using this individual. You don't even need to talk to this person.
Okay.
Right. And you'll have to just pick up, start using that person. If there is a gap, we also tell you there is a gap and just work with this team to address the gap, but keep going, because that is our employee. So we should not be evaluating our employee and discriminating them because they don't have a talent. It's our employee, so just go and start using. And we already piloted that also for us.
Okay. Ankit, I'll give you the final words to say. But before that, there's this question from Anosh Bartania asking, since everyone has been saying AI will replace many jobs, what can we do to upskill ourselves, and how do we know in which area to develop those skills? I'm a finance professional and would like to upskill myself. Abhishek?
Okay. So I'm not sure if he said that AI is eliminating jobs. So, but I think in all sort of seriousness, what we are seeing is we are seeing AI affect the job market in two ways. One is the specialist jobs that require people to deeply understand, what is AI and actually, take it forward. Like, so they are more like deeply tech skills. But the other trend that's actually here to stay is AI. Do you understand how to use AI in your job? So case in point, right? Now we see requirements for AI skills in jobs like graphic designer, marketing, art director. So this is one of the things that I was just seeing today. There was a job for art director, and it says we really need person to know the AI. And why is that? Because this person is going to help design t-shirts with sort of street art, and it is required for them to know how to use an AI tool to come up with great and cool designs that are trendy, right? So in that sense, I mean, the only sort of advice I can maybe share is embrace AI, learn how to use AI, and that is going to upskill you in your choice of profession. It is not limited to a tech role, and I think you'll stand a great chance to to do well.
There you go, Anosh. Yeah, learn how to use AI. Ankit, final words.
Yeah. Just on that and the final point, right? So definitely AI will not replace anyone. People knowing AI will, transform, and they will be getting leverage, right? So that's what will happen. And on finance, right? I think as probably Abhishek said, right? It's or AI with domain is a very, very deadly combination. So if you're in finance, you learn certain elements of AI and how you implement AI in your job, right? Like fraud analytics, risk management, customer service, investment management, right? There are so many, areas where you can implement AI. We don't know what you are doing, but again, that's a possibility, right? Coming back to the earlier point, right? The trends, what we are seeing, right? Again, a lot was covered, right? And I will say AI and Gen AI is already getting implemented, imbibed, right? And with that, we see a lot of increased automation, AI-based, decision making, right? In recruitment, new job roles are emerging. There's a lot of collaboration between AI, human, and workforce, right? With that, I think a lot of personalized learning and development is coming, so that the learning can happen at scale, right? There are methodologies getting deployed and implemented. Remote working and work enablement is happening at large scale, and I think using all of this, there's a lot of experience enhancement for recruiters, for candidates, for managers who are hiring, all of them. That's what probably is my view.
Absolutely. So yeah, fascinating world emerging. Yeah, experience enhancement, as Ankit said, for all involved in this process is what AI is bringing for the candidate, the recruiters, the panelists, all the company. So thanks a lot, Abhishek, Ganesh, Ankit. Really nice having you on this platform. This is a subject that's of very close interest to us in Times Techies also, because a lot of youngsters read us, and it's something that we are trying to, really help them understand where all of this is going. So thanks a lot. Hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you all. Take care.